It may seem like you have no chance. It may seem like it's over. Never, ever quit. If you're a quitter, I hope you quit right now and stop watching immediately.
In order to be successful, and you people are well on the road to success, you have to find out what makes you excited, what makes you want to get up each morning and go to work. You have to find it. If you love what you do and dedicate yourself to your work, then you will gain momentum. And look, you have to. You need the word momentum. You will gain that momentum. And each success will create another success. The word momentum. A word you never hear when you're talking about success. When some of these guys that never made 10 cents, they're on television giving you things about how you're going to be successful. And the only thing they ever did was a book and a tape. But I'll tell you, it was very sad, and I never forgot that moment, and I thought about it. And it's exactly true. He lost his momentum, meaning he took this period of time off, long, years, and then when he got back, he didn't have that same momentum. In life, I always tell this to people, you have to know whether or not you continue to have the momentum. And if you don't have it, that's okay. Because you're going to go on, and you're going to learn, and you're going to do things that are great. But you have to know about the word momentum. But the big thing, never quit, never give up, do something you love. When you do something you love, as a scout, I see that you love it. But when you do something that you love, you'll never fail. What you're going to do is give it a shot again and again and again. You're ultimately going to be successful. And remember this, you're not working. Because when you're doing something that you love, like I do, of course I love my business, but this is a little bit different. Who thought this was going to happen? We're, having a good time. We're doing a good job. Doing a good job. But when you do something that you love, remember this, it's not work. So you'll work 24/7, you're going to work all the time, and at the end of a year, you're not really working. You don't think of it as work. When you're not doing something that you like, or when you're forced into do something that you really don't like, that's called work, and it's hard work and tedious work. So as much as you can, do something that you love, work hard, and never, ever give up, and you're going to be tremendously successful. Tremendously successful.
What would be one word of advice you would have for an upcoming businessman, for a future businessman?
Knowledge. Knowledge. But if it's one word's very hard for that, but the word is knowledge. But you get knowledge through experience. One of the things people talk about is luck. And I do believe that people are lucky, and some people are luckier than others. I do believe that. But there's also an expression, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I can tell you 10 instances where I didn't quit when it was 1990, the world was coming down, the debt markets were to everybody, all of my friends and enemies were going bankrupt. I never did. And the times were actually just terrible. And even today, you look at times and you see what happens, and you have to learn. But the word luck is very interesting. But if I didn't work really hard, I probably would not, almost definitely would not be here today. And unless you had me up as a man who at one point was successful, but let's see what a loser looks like. So you have to work hard, because it is true, you can develop luck through hard work.
Never lose your cool unless you have a reason for doing so. I'm a leader that listens to my team and listens intently. But in the end, I form my own opinion. The leader that wants to be popular, that wants to be loved, that leader ultimately is not going to make it. Oftentimes, you'll see an opponent and you'll say to yourself, this is going to be easy. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do. Never underestimate your opponent. Assume that your opponent is the toughest, smartest person in the world, because that can really lead to victory. There's no better feeling than being a winner. To be a winner, you have to think like a winner. You have to be positive, and you cannot stop. Generally speaking, a leader has to think independently. People settle for mediocrity for one reason: they're lazy. I've seen it so often. People go into something, they don't want to go that extra step. They know it's not going to be great. It might be good, it might be okay, it's not going to be great. They settle for mediocrity. They're lazy. I'll always want to hear what people have to say. It doesn't mean you have to do what they're saying, but always listen. If you do all the talking, you're not going to learn a lot. There's an expression, go big or go home. I like it a lot. You go for the fences, you go all the way, or just, you know what, go home. In life, you can have a great idea, but if you can't get those ideas across, it's never, ever going to work. I know so many people that have great ideas, but they can't sell the ideas. Guess what? They're not successful. Oftentimes, you'll have an idea, and you'll fall in love with it, and then it turns out to be not such a good idea, and you can't get rid of it. When the idea turns out bad, cut it out of your mind, get rid of it, go on to the next thing, and let it be better. For me, failure is never an option. If you have to go through the wall, you go through it. If you can't go through it, you go under it, around it, over it. There is no such thing as failure. I've seen people go 48 hours and even more, days and days without any sleep in order to get a deal done. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to love what you do. Number two, you can never give up. You can never quit. And if you don't have the physical or mental stamina to do it, guess what? You better be doing something else. You can never, ever quit. If a leader can't control his subordinates, he's not a leader, he's not a good businessman, he's going to be a failure. Whether it's a he or a she, it's going to be bad. Never get sidetracked by less important tasks. Always focus on the goal. If you do get sidetracked, get right back on the rails, because ultimately, sidetracking kills you.
I'm always looking for more excitement in life. I look at life as one time, here we are, it's a one-time go-around. I'm always looking for more excitement. Oftentimes, I would not consider my life to be the most exciting life in the world, and probably the world would tell me I'm crazy, because I think the world's perception of me and my life is much different than that. I really don't like to think about what's missing. You know, if you get into what's missing, you don't appreciate what you have. If any one of my children call, I'll always take their call, no matter what I'm doing.
You want to be totally focused. You can't take your eye off the ball. When I had troubles in the early 90s, a major article came out, and it said very strongly, everything he touches turns to gold. And I believed it. So I'd go out with models at night instead of working. But that wasn't good. And I remember I had a big lease coming up, and there was a big show, and I went to the show. I said, don't worry, fellas, you can handle the lease, you'll get it done. Well, I came back, they didn't get it done, and I would have had it done 100%. And then the market crashed in the 90s. So I had trouble, but it was sort of an amazing, I wouldn't want to do it again. It was an amazing test of yourself. Can you handle pressure? How are you under pressure? Are you smart? Never, ever give up.
There was one thing that you wanted people to remember about Donald Trump. What is it?
Never, ever give up.